Hey guys, super exciting video today. We're going to be building a crate, 6S Kraton. Got some EXP parts for it, some hop-ups, some upgrades that we're going to do along the way. Basically, it's going to be a stock Kraton. It's going to come out as a stock Kraton, mostly because we're using a stock BLX 2050 kV motor, the stock BLX 185 ESC, and I'll go over each hop-up and why I did them, but basically we're going to dive right into this video. I'm going to go over all the parts I've got, and we're going to start out with rebuilding the diffs. These trucks seem to have a lot of problems with the diffs. So Jennysrc has sent me all my diffs now. I'm sure if you watched part 1 of this, you've seen the little scare I had with the empty package. They came good for it. In the meantime, I'd upgraded to the EXP diff, the EXP center diff. We're going to go over that a little bit later when we get into the diff. Got our hardware package, big bag of screws. Gotta love that. Stainless screw set as well. So mainly what I'm going to do is lay out all the screws for the truck. And I'm going to use as many stainless screws as I can, especially in certain spots. Kind of explain why while I do. Stainless screws are going to bend. These stock screws are going to break. So the crappy part about a screw breaking is usually it breaks the head off, might render you inoperable for the day. But the biggest thing is that it leaves the threaded part in the, in your part, say in your diff housing or somewhere like that. Then you end up replacing that part because you've got screws that you can't get out. So the stainless screw set, I do kind of recommend going to a screw set. Most people don't understand why you go to a screw set. It's because of the bending and breaking. Hey guys, okay, I'm back here. We've got our screws all laid out nicely. Got a full set of hardware laid out. Now, the reason I lay it out is just makes it a lot easier for later on, like identifying which screws you have, what number of screws there are, and it makes it really easy to find out where they go when you know you have 8 of them and you need 8 of them. Or you need 2 hinge pins and they're a certain length. Well, it's easy to find them in your pile, Anyways, lay out your screws before you start. It makes it super easy. We're gonna start with the diffs. These are version 5 diffs, so these are not supposed to need any work whatsoever. This is the diff housing, and it's got the outdrive cups installed. You've got your outdrive cup, like all 3 outdrive cups are installed. It's a complete diff ready to bolt in. So you can just drop this diff in, bolt it in. They say this needs no work before you start. I kind of disagree after feeling the diff really quickly. So what you're gonna do is check this just as you would check your pinion to spur mesh. You've got to get it so if there's too much grease in the diff, you're not gonna be able to feel it really well. So you can clean that out with some brake cleaner really quickly. Or you can disassemble it, clean it, and put it back together dry, and then do this check. In this case, there's not too much grease in there. It looks like there's a lot in there, but it's mostly just balled up on the ends. I can feel it pretty good. So what you're gonna do is hold your whole diff and hold your outdrive cups together, and wiggle your pinion gear. And you should be able to feel how much play there is against your ring gear. Now in this, it seems okay in some spots, but it's incredibly sloppy in others. So you've got to find the high point of your gear, as with setting any gear mesh, and go from there. My thumb's probably blocking that. So I don't know if you guys can hear the clicking back and forth. Let me find a spot where I can get out of the grease a little bit. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is, I'm trying to hold it all together here. That is one sloppy diff. So when you run it with, even by hand, sounds and feels nasty. No good. That's not going in the truck like that. So we're going to break that down, and I'm going to show you guys what we do with this. All right, guys, I'm back. Had to take care of some stuff. Okay, so what we've done is pulled the cap off the diff, so removed the 4 screws, peeled that off there. Now, what we're looking for here is side-to-side play from our ring gear to our pinion gear. So that's what this is very sloppy right now. So what we're gonna do is shim it on this side to move it in towards our ring gear. I'll show you when I pull the diff out. So they've come with one shim already on that side. Now they also included a pack of shims that come with the diff. So that's kind of handy, very handy. The diff itself, these are V5 diffs. I'm not going to pull this apart. I want to see how these hold together. It feels really nice. So we're going to leave this limited slip differential together and see if it holds together for us. All right, guys. I tore this diff down 2 or 3 times, put it back together. I didn't like how it felt at all. I was really thinking that we were gonna have some problems with this later on. So I pulled it apart again to investigate. What I found is the actual ring gear mating to the diff housing. I don't know if there was a burr on there or something, just for me pulling it apart, put it back together. There's no high spot now. I can't find a high spot in the gear whatsoever. It all feels nice. And to boot, it feels nice with no shims in there whatsoever. So I can feel a nice small amount of play there. I don't know if you can see that movement, but I'm holding my outdrive cup, and on my other output shaft cup, I'm wiggling it to feel the amount of play there. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. It's better to do it this way because you can hold your whole hand around the diff completely, squeeze them together, then you're not going to get any movement inside your diff. It feels fantastic all the way around. So we're going to leave it with no shim in this one, and we're going to move on to the second diff. Okay, guys, we've got our diffs done. Our front diff is going to be the first diff I was working on. That diff ended up taking no shims. It feels pretty good. This next diff took 2 shims. It feels fantastic. So we're going to use that as that's going to be our rear diff. So I'm going to kind of keep track of that and make sure I put that in the rear of the truck. I was going to change the fluid out right off the bat in the center diff, but what I'd done is ordered the EXB. So we've got the metal diff housing. There's a 50-tooth center differential. The diff is incredibly stiff. So I'm thinking what they have in there is probably 100,000 K fluid. I'm not sure. You guys can comment below if somebody knows what comes in the EXB Arrma Kraton 6S center diff. I haven't been able to find out what fluid comes in the EXB. So anyways, this being the EXB diff, super stiff. We're not going to change the fluid in this. If I was going to put anything in, I'd probably start around 100,000 K just to see, or 100K, sorry, to see what it worked like first. This diff's right around the right ballpark, so it feels good to me. We're going to run with it. Okay.